Well, my friends, as my kids would say, we are 3 sleeps away from the launch of STARFIELD, and with that being said, you are going to see a ton of videos out there, some with accurate information, some not so much. Therefore, today I wanted to throw a video together really quick, passing along a few tips so you can avoid certain spoilers, and as always, answering some of the questions you've sent the channel. What is going on, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and my entire point of this video, my friends, is to help you navigate the minefield that is YouTube. That way you can actually go into this game with a fresh opinion and with a fresh set of eyes, having nothing being spoiled whatsoever. If you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well. And we are having a giveaway for an Xbox Series S. We're giving away 2, and all you need to do to enter is either subscribe here or follow on Twitter, and the winners will be announced October 1st of this year. Now, there happen to be a few different topics I would like to go over in today's video. However, as we begin, I want to pass along a few recommendations. The first of which is very simple and is more of a warning. For those of you out there who do not want to know any spoilers whatsoever, make sure you only click on videos from creators that you actually know and trust, because remember, at the end of this week, the embargo is going to be lifted, and about 8 hours before this game launches, that is when you're going to start seeing those review videos come out, and for the most part, they are from people who have legitimately been playing the game for the last few weeks because STARFIELD gave them early access. Now, unfortunately, at the same time, there are also going to be a bunch of people who take bits and pieces of a ton of different videos, throw something together that's a bunch of bullshit, and then all of a sudden you wind up finding out information you didn't want to know. So in my opinion, lean on the side of caution, because there is going to be a ton of clickbait titles out there. So I recommend do not click on anything unless you know the source. And as always, I promise not to give any spoilers away here whatsoever. Now, the next message I'd like to convey is for those of you out there who are on the fence whether you want to buy this game and be ready for day one at launch because you are concerned about Bethesda and bugs and all of those things. And once again, my answer is very simple. Just wait, because there is no rush to buy this thing. I mean, there is for me because I'm a man-child. I want to get everything right when it comes out, but the bottom line is if you happen to be on the fence, or more importantly, you just want to see the quality of the game before you invest your hard-earned money into it, just, wait a few days after launch, give it a week or two, see what patches they implement. Remember, they are going to be bringing us a day one patch as well, and by giving it that extra time, you will truly be able to determine if this is a game for you or not. Like I mentioned earlier, I promise to bring you spoiler-free information, and as always, if you have questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know and I will do my best to get back to you as quick as I can. Moving on, my friends, we are now going to talk about landing on planets, invisible walls, boundaries, all of that stuff, because there seems to be this drama, which in my opinion is pretty much non-existent, because based on the research I've done, all of the drama seems to be stemming from people who were never going to play this game in the first place. However, before I go over some of the details about what's going on, I'd like to share with you a small portion of an interview that Todd gave to Lex Friedman about 8 months ago, where he talked about this very thing.
So this is going out into the open world of many star systems, many planets. I saw that it's thinking about 100 star systems and 1,000 planets available to explore. What is that world of stars and planets like?
Well, you mentioned Daggerfall. We go back to some of that. Well, the first when we did it was, how are we going to render a planet, like pull it off for the player? Like, can we? Or do we have to sort of do it where you can't land on all of them, where you're landing in a very controlled, small world space that we, kind of craft, and you would have a very limited set of those.
Mhm.
If you go back to tone, like, well, that's probably the wrong tone. And how can we say yes? Like, I want to land on that ice ball. So we started the game right after Fallout 4, so 2016. And the first thing we did was, how can we have a system to generate these planets and make them look, I'll say reasonable, as opposed to, fractally goop.
Well, what's the technical definition of goop? Fractally goop.
Fractally goop. You've probably seen a lot of like simulations, whether they're space things or landscape things, where they're using fractals and just the landscape does not look real. It just is like highs and lows and it's muddy. And so we did find a way. We came up with a way had prototyped of building tiles, like large tiles of landscape, the way we would usually build them. We kind of generate them offline, hand do some things, and end up with these very realistic looking tiles of landscape, and then built a system that wraps those around a planet and blends them all together. And we had pretty successful results with that. And so we thought, yeah, we could do this. And so there was a big design kind of problem to solve in terms of, well, what's fun about landing on a planet where there's potentially nothing? Because there's a lot of planets and moons, if you kind of, right, in reality, that, well, there's nothing on them except resources. And so we spent a lot of time figuring out, okay, let's just lean in on that can be a lonely experience, as long as we tell the player, here's what's there, here are the resources that are there, go find them. But I equate it to that moment of we said about listening to the wind go and watching the sunset. And I do think there's a certain beauty to landing on a strange planet, being somewhat the only person there, building an outpost. And we are modeling all of the systems because that's how we like to do things. So you can watch whatever that gas giant or moon, it will rotate and go, and sunrise, sunset, and all of those things that you would expect. And it's all really happening. And most people probably won't notice or appreciate all of that, but I think it gives them the ability to say, I want to go do that and see that on that place, as long as we tell them, hey, the quest leads over here. Here's where the handcrafted content is that you would expect. And then here's more of the open procedural planet experience.
Now, for those of you out there that would like to see that interview in its entirety, I will leave a link to it in the video description down below. It happens to be incredibly interesting. Now, that's going to take us to the actual event that really lit this whole thing ablaze. And it stems from a tweet that was posted about a week ago, and it says the following: when I land on a planet, will I be able to explore that whole entire planet? Now, Pete Hines, who is the head of publishing over at Bethesda, responded simply by saying, yup, if you want, walk on, brave explorer. Now, that does bring us to the second part of the issue, which is that someone over the weekend leaked some footage, and it showed them on a planet. They were going in a pretty linear path, and after about 9.5 minutes of going straight, they did hit an invisible wall. Now, here's the problem that we're facing right now, and you have to look at both sides, at least in my opinion. First of all, it is leaked footage. We have no point of reference. I do not know if that's from the tutorial, if it's from further in the game. I have no idea what it is or what to expect, and to be honest with you, after watching it, it didn't really sway my opinion in regard to what I'm actually anticipating with this game. And secondly, I also understand why some people now see a red flag and they're thinking, well, if that's wrong, what else is going on? Like, I want to make sure I'm actually going to get what the game says, and once again, it takes me back to what I said at the beginning of the video, which is simply wait and see if this is a game you actually want to play before you make that investment. And I'm not talking about just checking out the review videos on day one. I'm talking about giving it a week or two. I mean, there is no mad rush whatsoever, and one thing I can always promise you, and this is what I've done at the channel and I will continue to do, is I promise to always give you a fair and balanced assessment of a game, and that is regardless of my own personal experience with the game. I mean, who gives a what I think of a game? It doesn't matter. I'm always going to tell you exactly what's going on both sides. That way you can truly make an informed decision. I appreciate the privilege of your time, and like I said before, questions or comments, please let me know. On that note, my friends, I'm going to start to wrap this video up. Now, one final thing I'd like to mention, and I found this funny, is that people who are actually angry about this whole invisible wall things, and I said this earlier, are gamers who never had any intent whatsoever to even jump into this universe. They're just around to talk smack. Do not let it bother you. It doesn't matter. In a few days, we will all see what this game has to offer, and as I said before, that's when you can truly make your best determination. With all that being said, I'm going to start to wrap this up. As always, I want to thank you all for your incredible support of this channel, and remind you, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well, but most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.